What's up, you little oddballs? Welcome back to The Oddity Shop, the podcast where we
tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange, bizarre, and also sometimes funny, but also truly deeply horrifying stories from around the world.
Wow. Well, I am your curator, Kara, and this is my, he's cool, curator, Zachary, but it's his birthday today, little birthday boy, Zachary.
I'm old.
Oh, please.
I shouldn't say that to you, but I feel old.
You're not making it any better.
I'm digging a hole over here.
Fucking idiot.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
All right, well, when we're recording this, you're not actually old because it's
No, I'm still young. But for when you're listening to this,
it's your birthday.
My birthday is the first day of spring, so I am channeling it here. I've got my sleeveless shirt on.
You do.
And I am leaving in like 3 days to be in Arizona for a week in the sunlight. So I'm just trying to manifest warm weather feelings now.
And we're in the future. Last weekend, we hung out with Lauren.
Oh, yeah.
And did some cool things. That were pretty cool.
You might have seen our live from hanging out with her.
I like the future.
It is so fun. I feel like sometimes when we record these, when we're talking both like present for us and present for listeners, we're like time travelers, dude.
I know, we are. It's cool.
So yeah, if you're us, we know how to travel in time in our own made up kind of way. Okay, so update on the custom spirit board. It is ready. I have been offered pictures of it, but I said no because I want the first time that I see it to see it with my whole eyeballs. But my Mothman spirit board.
I forgot about this.
I'm so excited for this.
I don't think our listeners know.
I did. I said something around Christmas. So my dad's making me a custom Ouija board, spirit board that's all Mothman themed for Christmas. And it is, I saw the concept photo and it was gorgeous. And he was trying to send me like updates. So I'm like, no pictures. I just want to see
I'm going to message him right after this and be like, can I have pictures?
Yes, but don't do it, but don't share it with me.
Oh, I'm not going to. I just want to know.
Perfect. What else do you have? I feel like I don't have too much to talk about today.
Well, I guess our event is coming up soon. So again, I hate being that person. I don't know if there's tickets, obviously, because I'm in the future. If there is.
But if there are, yeah, come join us.
Come join us. If there are not, or you just do not want to come, we don't care. That's cool. Send good vibes because, bitches, I am terrified to host an event. I am scared that I'm going to not know how to talk.
You're going to be fine.
So I need some good vibes.
That's the other thing you could do, listeners. If this wasn't the event for you for whatever reason, but you do want to hang out with us, let us know what other kind of events you'd like us to do, and we will definitely make it happen.
What if we don't even do an event? What if we just do like a meetup somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. We should
we're gonna get our brains going. I have some ideas, but I'll talk to you off camera about it.
Okay, yeah, that would be cool.
But still, send us your ideas.
Cool.
What else you got before we open up?
I think that's it. Thanks, Patreon subscribers. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate you so greatly.
Do you have a question?
I do have a question. Would you call the police if you saw a UFO?
No.
Okay, so follow up to that. Other than me, who would your first call be to?
My mom.
All right, fair enough.
Why would you look like you thought it would be to somebody else?
No, I don't know why I would have imagined anybody else, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be your mom.
Yeah.
So why would you not call the police?
Number one,
the short version. I know that could be a very long answer.
If you even call the police for normal things that are normal, they don't do anything a lot of the time. 2, they're just going to be like, you're crazy. And 3, they're just going to gaslight you into just believing it's like a spacecraft or a plane or a like fighter jet or swamp gas balls.
Oh, hold on to that because this ties back into the swamp gas episode. I have yet another question for you.
Oh, wow. This is like my last episode where I had all the questions for you.
And it was unplanned too. Have you ever seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
No, you keep telling me I need to watch it.
Oh my God, you do need to watch it. Okay. So
hey, actually, I have a call to action.
Oh,
Can somebody go back and listen to every single one of our episodes and make a list of all of the TV shows and movies that I'm supposed to watch? Thank you.
Oh, don't waste your time doing it. You can tell her to watch them till you're blue in the face. She never will. Okay.
Yeah, but I want the list.
Don't waste your time, friends. Please. Take it from somebody who's been doing this job for years. And by job, I mean trying to make Kara watch shit. Okay. Anyways, so in the movie, there's a really famous scene, okay, and it's an infamous chase where there's a bunch of police cruisers following behind this like UFO glowing orb that's like going down the street, and they're going through crazy turns at like high speeds and shit. And today I learned, well, not today, but today you are all going to learn that that scene is actually inspired by a real event.
Oh.
Okay. So I did tell you there was going to be a swamp gas tie-in, though. So if you remember, and if you guys have listened to the Michigan UFO episode, we talked about J. Allen Hynek, the guy who was originally the skeptic, who worked for Project Blue Book in the Air Force. But then he, like, over years of researching it, became definitely not a skeptic and, like, one of the best ufologists in history, right? Okay. So he actually comes up with like the classification system that's used for the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So he creates the 6 kinds of encounter. Okay. So one is, and bear with me, I'm doing this by memory. 1 is lights in the sky at night, nocturnal lights. 2 is seeing a UFO during the day.
Okay.
3 is seeing it on like radio or satellite.
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6 are then close encounters of the first kind, which would be the night lights, close encounters of the daylight, or close encounter of the satellite image. So that's the 6 kinds of UFO. Okay. So anyways, obviously then J. Allen Hynek's research gives names to that movie. He is going to come back up later in this episode, though, which is why I wanted to remind everybody who he was. Okay, so 48 is when he kind of starts getting involved with Blue Book. By 53, he starts to like sort of change his mind. In the 60s, he's like full-blown believer. And by the 70s, he's like, screw what the government told everybody everything was. Cool. Okay. The infamous case that like inspired that scene goes back to 1966, and it's around 5 a.m. on April 17th, just east of Akron, Ohio, in Portage County. And it's a super cold night, but the sky is very clear. So, you know, those like crisp April nights where it's just all the stars are out, not a cloud. Okay. Deputy Sheriff Dale F. Spauer is on patrol with his partner, Wilbur or Barney Neff. I always love, by the way, when they shorten somebody's name, it's the same amount of syllables.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Or like how Jack is somehow the nickname for John. I will never get it.
It is?
Yeah. Yeah. Like John F. Kennedy, they called him Jack all the time. I had an Uncle Jack. His name was John. I don't get it.
Well, I don't understand how you get what was Barney from Wilbur?
What's up, oddballs? We've got a little surprise for you. Our first event is finally coming around. We are going to be doing a little event at the Haunted Eloise Asylum in Michigan. Kara, tell us about the details.
Okay, so the details are it is going to be April 19th, and it is going to start at 6 p.m. and go until midnight. And Zachary, what are we doing at Eloise?
We are bringing in the wonderful Lauren Haunts, where we're all going to build our own investigative equipment that we get to take home with us. And what are we doing from there?
Okay, so after the workshop that we have with Lauren and we build our equipment, we're going to actually go use our own equipment that we just built, and we're going to investigate Eloise.
So we hope you all can make it. Tickets are going to be very limited. We're holding it for 20 people max. The link is down below. And Kara, let's wrap this up.
Well, we hope to see you there, and we hope you creep real, you little eyeballs.
Goodbye. Bye. Yeah. Once again, our favorite answer. We'll never know. Although that one I'm sure we could Google. Okay. So Spauer, at the time, he's 35. He's been with the force for like 2 years, happily married, father of 2 kids. So he works as a night deputy, and then he does construction during the day.
He's busy.
He was also an Air Force veteran of the Korean War. Yeah, he's busy, but he's like an upstanding dude. Veteran, construction, police.
What year is this again?
66.
66. Okay.
Yeah. His partner on this night is Barney Neff, 26. He's a mechanic by trade who volunteers his time on the weekend to assist the sheriff on the night shift.
Assist the sheriff.
That's a hard sentence to say. Neff also served in the Navy. He worked in missile tracking at Cape Canaveral. So like he's also a pretty upstanding guy too.
Okay, yeah. So they know though what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They know things in the sky. They know, they're smart. And like I said, usually, at least in the 60s, cops and veterans, pretty darn trustworthy. I'm going to rephrase that. At least in the 60s, cops pretty darn trustworthy. I still think veterans are trustworthy. Okay. The two are going down Route 224 in their patrol car. They've had sort of a busy night. They've investigated a crash. They've delivered coffee to linemen who are working late.
Shut the fuck up. That's so cute.
Assisted a stranded motorist. And that's all just since midnight. So between midnight and 5 a.m. Crazy evening. I know.
Wow.
So as they're driving, they hear some chatter on the radio about a woman who called into the police station regarding some strange lights in the sky near Akron. So one of them in the patrol car jokes about it's probably a prank, while the other one states, well, maybe they're just seeing the planet Venus, which on this night is like super clear and bright. It's actually brighter than the North Star. So like, you know, they talked about it. They kind of laughed it off. They didn't give this another thought.
This is sounding familiar, but I feel like all cases like this are like the exact same like start. It's wild. Always
the same. We ignore, the crazy person who called in about the lights. So as they're driving along, they notice an abandoned Ford vehicle. So they're like, well, we should check it out because like, what else are they doing in the middle of Ohio in the middle of the night? So Spauer, he gets out, he checks the driver's side, notices the vehicle is empty. Neff is waiting near the rear in case, you know, some sort of altercation breaks out. Spauer takes his flashlight and he's like looking in the car just to see if he can see, you know, anybody maybe sleeping in the back or like.
Yeah, anything.
Neff goes, wow, man, Venus is really bright tonight, kind of looking off.
Shut the fuck up.
That's when they both noticed something a little bit strange about Venus way up there in space. Because Neff looks at it again and realizes that it just moved really quickly.
That ain't.
So he kind of brushes it off. You know, it's early in the morning. But then they both notice that Venus is getting larger and larger and closer and closer.
Oh my God. Something ain't right.
Something ain't right about Venus. Maybe because it's not. So anyways, they're like totally focused on this now, right? And it's gotten so close that it's like coming just over the treetops as it moves from east to west.
What would you do?
I don't know. Like, because this is, you know, they're on a car right off the highway. They've seen this thing way off, and all of a sudden in moments, it's now like hovering close to them at 300 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Both of them are trying to like squint and get their eyes to focus. It's giving off this really strong, like bluish white light. They said almost like kind of like an arc welder.
Okay.
And then there's like a spotlight underneath it that's illuminating the ground brighter than like any moonlight would even be. So it's like this thing is bright. Okay. So they're still staring at it. They figure it's about 35 to 45 feet across, 15 to 25 feet tall, and it's making a low, steady humming noise, sort of like an electrical transformer.
I know we've talked about it so many times. I think like in Bat Squatch episode. No, you can't. I can't look up at something or look in a distance and be like, I think that's a 7 to 10 feet and 45 inches in diameter.
They do the best they can.
I know,
I will
but
say in their case, like other people give descriptions and it matches almost perfectly.
Okay.
So, but they're doing their best to like.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
If you were to see
hilarious.
A low flying plane, you would have no idea what the dimensions a guesstimate would be.
No, we would literally just do it in like comparison. Like that's as big as a Cybertruck. We wouldn't be giving it in feet and centimeters and shit. You know?
So it just blows my mind that all these people do this and all these like it's crazy.
So anyways, they're like staring at it. They're frozen in fear. And then thankfully their cop instincts kick in, mostly because the spotlight under this thing is now like coming right towards them. And they book it back to the cruiser. And they immediately start to remember the prank call from earlier, right?
Oh,
so
yeah, because they stopped to just look at the car that happened to be on the side. Okay, yeah, duh.
So it's now 5:07 when they call the radio operator, Robert Wilson, and Wilson takes note of Spauer's report, and the directive comes through right from Wilson. He says, just go shoot it down. Thankfully, Sergeant Henry Schoenfeld, who is also at the station overhearing this, hold on, we cannot shoot this down.
Worst directive.
So it's such 60s way of thinking. I know. He goes, it could be a weather balloon. He goes, can you guys just take some pictures of it? But they don't have a camera.
It could be
Yeah. Okay, so finally a direction comes through that makes any sort of sense. He says, okay, just keep the object in sight while we come up with a plan, basically. If you need to pursue it, pursue it.
So just follow this thing that we don't know what it is.
So Neff and Spauer do just that. Not a moment after that, this craft moves a bit east, a bit higher, and then starts to pick up speed and just starts flying, okay? But it is going right over the highway that they just pulled off of. Spauer is driving as fast as he can. Neff he's got his face like glued to the windshield to not lose sight of it, okay? They're on the radio. They're starting to like try to give a better description. They say it's almost like egg-shaped with a depression in the top portion of it with like an antenna coming out of there.
Okay.
And then below it, it looks conical, but it's really just a cone-shaped light coming down. Okay. So they're saying that it's moving about 300 feet off the ground. And now this one I will give them credit for, that is moving at 85 miles an hour. And they know this because they are going 85 miles an hour to track it.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense because that's obvious.
This thing is still like, it's kind of darting left to right. It's flying down the road, but staying like directly over the highway. They said it felt almost as if like it wasn't trying to get away from them, but almost playing like cat and mouse. Like it wanted,
it was kind of like messing with them.
Yeah, like it was totally playing with them. So they're still going, right? They're coming up on Atwater, Ohio, then into Deerfield. Object now had like lost them for a little bit. They thought they got lost from it, and all of a sudden it like pops up like as if it was waiting for them. Okay. So it plays this game through Canfield Village into East Palestine, Ohio, and now it's getting near the Pennsylvania border. So they're going like a distance.
Wow.
Up ahead in Pennsylvania, patrolman Wayne Huston, he is 32. He's sitting in his patrol car, and he's hearing the radio chatter because back in the 60s, like not every station had different frequencies. They all just kind of basically shared one, and if they got close enough to each other, they could pick up each other's calls. So he's there listening to everything. He's kind of getting a little bit excited. He realizes they're heading his way. Also, he's been on the force for 6 years, also a veteran, and was contender for chief. I just want to make sure we have backstory for all these guys.
Okay, sorry. I just had to look something up because ever since you described the way it looked, I was trying to, I'm like, okay, so you said this was in 66?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Flintstones came out in like the 60s, and the Great Gazoo is the alien in there.
Yes.
And that's exactly what his little spaceship looks like. It's like a little egg with a...
Okay, yeah.
I just had to... I had that in my brain.
Similar.
Okay.
Imagine it more, though, like if the back of his ship, instead of being totally conical, had a depression, and that's where the antenna is coming out of. And then you have that like a perfect beam coming down.
Okay. I just had him in my head. I'm like, I've got to look this up because I'm like...
no, it's not like totally far off.
I was like, okay, so... if that came out in like the 60s, I don't know what episode he came into. Like, are people... It
could be. I mean...
you know what I mean? I'm
50s and 60s was huge for UFOs.
Yeah.
That's when we also have, oh my God, why am I...
Betty and Barney.
Betty and Barney, thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so anyways, yeah. So Huston, right, he's listening in. He realizes he's like just ahead of the action. And then all of a sudden he looks up and goes, oh shit, I can see it. He sees the object about 5 miles away, and it's coming right towards him.
That's so crazy.
Right? So just like within 5 minutes, okay.
And now this is at what time?
So this is still between 5 and 6 in the morning.
Oh my, this is crazy.
This whole thing happens over an hour and a half. Okay.
Oh God.
So he object goes past him in the sky. He says it's about 85 miles an hour at 900 feet. Okay. He gives a similar description, though. So his description, now mind you, when everyone gives their descriptions, they're not together. He says, it looks like an ice cream cone that had started to melt at the top. So again, half
okay.
egg divot with the conical light coming down.
Okay.
So the object goes past him, and then all of a sudden Spauer and Neff fly right past him, and he just joins. He's like, okay, whatever. We're on the same radio. I'm helping you guys. So now we have 3 officers in 2 cars.
I want to be part of this so bad.
I know. Going at high speeds. There's like started in Ohio. They just crossed into Pennsylvania. Okay.
Wait. I'm sorry. Little extraterrestrials in the spaceship are like these fucking bozos. They're like, why are they? They're never gonna get us. Like they're just fucking around.
So they're having the time of their lives. I
love this. Oh my god! I wish we had the footage of the inside of the spacecraft.
So this is where it gets fun, though, right? Because now they're in Pennsylvania, and the highway is now sort of back roads. Okay.
Oh.
Huston is giving directions over the radio to the lead car, which has Neff and Spauer in it, so that they can keep up with the object. As they're going through these back roads and like hills and curves, right? Still, like they top out a couple times over 100 miles an hour. These are 66 patrol cars.
Oh, right. Yeah, we got to remember that.
Yeah. Now, remember, it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So they also start to lose the object because they get stuck in slow moving morning church traffic.
Oh,
church traffic.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So they come into Rochester, PA. They're about to give up and go home. The sun is starting to come up. They had lost the object. And all of a sudden, it pops up over a hilltop again as if it had stopped and waited for them.
It did. This is so funny.
So they chase it through Conway, PA, where another patrolman, Frank Panzanella, age 33, he's standing beside his patrol car. Again, a veteran, okay?
This is so funny.
It's early morning, and he's looking at this guy like, what is that? He's rubbing his eyes, looking again, trying to make sense of whatever he's seeing in the sky. Now, he describes the object as half a football with a dent in it.
Hey, Arnold.
Which is the same exact definition or description, except for the fact the sun's coming up. So now he can't see the cone-shaped light underneath it.
Right.
Okay. He's on a different frequency, though, than everyone else because they've traveled so far now. So he hasn't heard the radio chatter. So he's like staring up at this thing,
like,
right?
What the fuck?
Then he starts to see 3 police officers in 2 cars, one Ohio, one PA, flying past him. And he's like,
what the fuck?
What the hell? So they fly past him and then stop ahead and turn around. And they like roll down their windows. They're like, did you see it? And he's like, see what? And they just point to the object and go, that. And then Panzanella's like, oh, yeah, I've been watching that for like a half an hour because he's been watching it come towards him. He gets on the radio to let Rochester, PA know what they're observing and says, hey, you need to let the airport know. The radio operator comes back and says, are you feeling all right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And Panzanella, I love this guy. He's kind of sassy. He goes, if I'm sick, so are these other 3 patrolmen.
If I'm sick, it's a condition going around.
Right. So they kind of start to take him seriously. They report to the airport and the Air Force, and they decide that they're going to try to scramble some jets to intercept the object because nobody really knows what it is. It's been over an 80-mile chase at this point. Okay.
This is so fun.
They're all 4 of them are just kind of, parked there watching it. They call it in. Now it's not moving as quickly anymore. It's still moving, but the chase isn't going on anymore. So why is it going to, run away?
This is so hilarious. It's taunting them.
They hear that the jets are closing in. Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, though, it starts to slowly rise from that 900 feet, gets to about 3,500 feet. The jets are getting really close to being like visual range. In a second, flies up straight into the air. It's gone.
I love this.
So this chase just comes to a screeching halt after, 86 total miles they traveled. So let's talk about the aftermath of this.
Wait, I'm just thinking that now they've all got to drive all the way back home and just be like this long ass drive home for what?
Yeah. Going, what the hell did we just see? They get back to their stations and they all report. They all give super similar accounts. And so the descriptions I've been giving you of how they've been describing it all come from their reports, which were taken separately at separate stations, except for Neff and Spauer.
Right.
And because the Air Force was alerted, of course, who gets pulled in but Project Blue Book.
I forgot about
Now, not J. Allen Hynek, because this isn't big enough for him, really. So on Friday, April 22nd, Major Quintanilla Jr., who is another commander of Project Blue Book. In case I haven't said it, Project Blue Book is the Air Force project that was studying UFO UAP. So he states, after he interviewed all the officers and everything else, the object, Neff and Huston and Spauer chased across 2 states that Pantanella also watched, was in fact the planet Venus. To explain the object's movement across the sky, Major Quintanilla insists that the officers first saw an Echo Communications satellite that was crossing the northwest. Then they unknowingly refocused on Venus rising in the southeast. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Most people didn't buy this, especially since we had that call from before, but there was tons of other eyewitnesses.
I forgot about that lady. What did she say exactly?
Strange lights in the sky.
Strange lights. Okay.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of people between Ohio and Pennsylvania who also witnessed this thing.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess they would, right?
So then we get the typical, right? It was a weather balloon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what some of the news reports and other people are saying who don't, buy into Project Blue Book, but they're not ready to say UFO. But this was like really quickly discredited because there's enough weather reports that night to show that if it was at anywhere from this 900 to 3,500 feet, there wasn't enough wind to move it at those speeds.
Yeah.
But the damage is already done by these stories, and then our officers start getting publicly ridiculed for chasing a UFO. Everyone's like, it was a satellite, dude. Like, you're really going to be able to protect us? Sheriff Spauer, he was the lead of him and Neff. He kind of takes the brunt of all the negative attention.
Oh.
So most of the news stories and the radio and TV newscasts and what everyone's writing kind of paint this picture of him as just this crazy UFO chase guy. And he led all these officers on
But okay, whatever, continue.
Spauer was usually like somebody who really was cool, calm, and collected. And he just kept saying, I had never seen anything like this. He was really worried people wouldn't believe him and think he was lying. Neff also describes his reaction to the unidentified object. He said he's not afraid of it, more that he was at peace with it. He said, it didn't really shake me up or bother me half as much as it did Dale Spauer, which I think was kind of an unnecessary dig.
Yeah.
I think that's something that gives proof, though, that Spauer really isn't making this up. Like I said, he's usually really calm and collected. If he was lying, he'd probably stay pretty similar. But we actually have a quote from his wife at the time. He came home that day, and I never saw him more frightened. He acted strange, listless. He just sat around. He was very pale. All sorts of people came to the house, investigators, reporters. They kept him up all night. They kept after him, hounding him. They hounded him right into the ground, and he changed.
That's so awful.
Then later, he got real nervous, and he started to run away. He just disappeared for days and days. I wouldn't see him. Our marriage fell apart.
Oh, shit.
So kind of soon after... Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, I'm just thinking, because that comment... What did he say? What was that comment?
Spauer's or Neff's?
Neff's.
He said that he wasn't too afraid, that he was at peace with it, but it didn't shake me up or bother me half as much as it did Dale.
I think that, like, okay, hearing that comment, like you said, that is like a dig and that's like unnecessary, but I'm the biggest, I just put my foot in my mouth type of person where I say things like that, where it's like, that's not how I intended it to be. Like, he might have just been trying to be like, I wasn't as like shaken up or like, but the way it's said is...
The way it's said is poor. What I think he was doing is really close to what you were saying, where like he didn't mean to put his foot in his mouth. I think he was trying to bury what he was going through.
Yeah.
By saying it didn't shake me up. But then showing that it shook Dale up kind of gives truth to it happening.
Exactly. I don't think it doesn't, to me at least, it sounds like something stupid that I would say. And then later I'd call you and be like, I know I shouldn't have said this, but...
But soon after the quote from Dale Spauer's wife...
That's so sad.
He comes home after disappearing again. He gets into an argument with her, grabs her by the arm and shakes her, but does it hard enough to leave bruises, which is not good. We don't condone.
Where was he going? Do we know?
No idea.
He's probably just driving around.
She presses charges. He's taken to jail. They take his badge and she files for a divorce. So Spauer's life completely falls apart. And this is why we don't really know where he's going. They have tried so many times to get interviews or do anything, and he just shut it down. His story gets really sad. He kind of bounces around from job to job and place to place and is just really lost until he does end up remarrying.
Okay, good.
He moves to West Virginia near New River Gorge.
Okay.
And they kind of have a happy ending running a bar together, which New River Gorge in West Virginia is where I went last year. And I can tell you, it's beautiful.
You should have went to his bar.
I know. Oh, it's closed. I did look that up when I saw this.
Darn.
Going back to Neff, right? We know Neff tried to downplay everything, but again, the wife comes in. His wife also gives a quote that
leave it to the wives.
Gives a little insight. Oh yeah, they sold these guys right out. So she says, I hope I never see him like he was, or I hope I never again see him like he was after the chase. He was real white, almost in a state of shock. It was awful. And people made fun of him afterwards. He never talks about it anymore. Once he told me, if that thing landed in my backyard, I wouldn't tell a soul.
Here's what's unfortunate, because you and I wouldn't call the police if we thought we saw an unidentified object, a UFO, whatever we're calling them nowadays. You and I wouldn't. But they were officers. Like, they were literally just doing their job, and they were reporting their job, and they were doing as they were told.
Absolutely.
So to be then ridiculed and made fun of, mocked, whatever, is just really, it's disturbing, but it's just like really fucked up to me. And it's really sad that like there are so many people that just cannot handle that type of ridicule and mockery. And I don't know if I could, but I'm just, because I've never had to put myself in that position, or I've never been in that position, and I don't even know how to put my shoes in, or you know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But that's just like, it's really sad, because you do hear a lot of times, like any sort of traumatic event or things like that, it ruins your relationships. It ruins your almost like your brain chemistry. I know that's probably not right, but like he wasn't a violent person. For them to then put his hands on his wife, for her to press charges and file for divorce, that's like, like all these out of character.
Well, I mean, you have to think about everything he's going through. Like you said, he did what he was being told. Nobody believes him, and now he's being ridiculed. This is a family man who served his country, who then goes on to serve his community.
So it's crazy to me, though, because you would think that those two would kind of just band together and be like, hey, whatever way they wanted to play it, like, hey, I guess we don't know what it was. Like, we were doing what we were told, and that's that, like, whatever. Like,
I think because both of them kind of took this stance of, we're not talking about it at all anymore. You can't, if you're going to just kind of bury it, you can't band together.
I guess I mean, like, at first.
Yeah.
Like, right away. You know what I mean? Like,
they did at first, because when they were being interviewed by Project Blue Book, both of them were super cooperative, telling the whole story, right? It wasn't until they were diminished by the Air Force with this bullshit story, because like they're trusted members of their community, and then all of a sudden the Air Force is coming out and saying they got a satellite confused with a planet and thought it was an alien. Like, you have to almost put it at the fact of like the community members, right? Is that who you want showing up to your murder or your accident? Is somebody who doesn't know a planet from an alien? I think that's where some of the spirals happen in their brains,
Yeah.
So then we have Mr. Huston. He was the third one to join in, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So after weeks of public ridicule on his end, and he's facing the anger of the police chief, because remember I told you he was a contender for the police chief?
Oh, yeah.
The guy who got it was like his enemy and like looked for anyway. So now this guy's just like shitting all over him.
Yeah.
And Huston ends up quitting as well. The only one who remains a cop is Panzanella. He doesn't speak about that night again, hardly ever. Denies every request for an interview. He didn't chase it. So I think that like that's part of why Huston was fired too, or ends up quitting, because they're like, you went into another state with you went in our state with officers from another state. Nobody gave you this. Like, you just kind of went rogue.
I mean, I guess I do understand that part of it. Like, that's not really your jurisdiction or whatever. Like, I guess I get that. Like,
I will say this. And this, I think, is one of the things that helps make me trust everything they went through.
You already believe it anyway. Yeah.
Couldn't stop right here. This is one of those stories I think that there's just not a way for me to disbelieve by any means.
First off, there's less actual evidence of the things that they're claiming that it is than anything else. You know what I mean?
Just say it's an unidentified object. I think the Air Force, I don't think they know as much as we think they know, right? All the UFO reports. I think they're better. They're like, hey, instead of telling the public we don't know what this is, we're just going to explain it off as something normal.
Are you talking now or then? Or in general?
I'm not saying they don't know nothing. I'm just saying I don't think they know as much as we give them credit, both now and then. Because if they were able to explain it fully, they would have disclosed.
I don't know.
Well, parts of it, you know. Anyways, I still think they know way more than they're ever letting on, but they don't understand it fully.
Yeah, maybe you're right that way, yeah.
The part, though, that makes me trust them more than anything is that the three officers, Neff, Spauer, and Huston, they never once deny or take back the story. They gave their reports, they were ridiculed, they went silent, but they never, ever say this did not happen, which would be so easy to do if you've already lost everything.
I guess here's my thought, though. I get where you're coming from with that. But if I've already lost absolutely everything, what would it benefit me to go back and be like, yeah, never mind, I was lying?
Well, if you were making it up, why would you? If you were making it up, you would have came clean almost right when the public ridicule started. If you're not making it up to take it that far.
Yeah.
Because what do they have to gain if they were, you know what I mean? Anyways, where are you at on this one?
Do you even have to ask me?
I just fucking did.
Yeah, but like, come on.
Okay, so you believe that happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So I told you that Hynek was coming back into this, and you're probably like, where is he? Quintanilla and Hynek, both very high up in Project Blue Book, both fucking hate each other.
Okay.
Because Quintanilla thinks that Mr. Astronomy Science Hynek over here is not explaining away enough things. And Hynek is like, this dude's trying to say that everything is a gas or a satellite or a planet. Like they both think that the other one's approaches to explanation disclosure are just completely wrong.
Okay.
And remember, in the 60s, this is Hynek's like bought in at this point, right? Hynek has his assistant right on.
Hold on, I just have to ask because I think I got a little bit lost. Okay, so Hynek, and then who's the other person that
Quintanilla.
But I thought he did believe it.
No, Quintanilla is the general who from Project Blue Book who came down and interviewed everyone and then said it was a satellite.
What the fuck was the other guy that like woke up and just looked outside and saw it? What was his name?
Panzanella.
Okay, I was like, wait, are you fucking with me right now? Okay.
So these two, Hynek and Quintanilla, are from Project Blue Book.
I got you.
They both go and investigate UFOs. They just both go completely opposite. Quintanilla is always explainable. Hynek, he says some things are explainable.
Panzarella, yeah. I got a little bit. I'm like, wait, I thought he did believe. What are you talking about? Okay, I got you now. I got you.
It's some time after, so the official report's already out. Hynek can't do anything about it. But what he can do is have his assistant send letters to Huston, Neff, and Spauer.
Oh.
And his letter says, I found out considerably more about this event than the Air Force investigator did. Because of that, I cannot agree with the evaluation publicly released a few days after the sighting. What you have reported could not possibly lead to such a conclusion. And then in parentheses, the Venus explanation. I was not consulted before this news release was put forth.
Okay.
So because Alan works at Project Blue Book in the Air Force, but he's not a member of the Air Force. He's a scientist. Quintanilla is a general of the Air Force, right? So he can't come out and just say, hey, this other guy's report is wrong, but he can send the letter. Which I think we have to be thankful for the fact that we have men like Hynek who aren't afraid to speak out against forces. We have people like these officers whose stories don't change even when their lives are literally falling apart, right? But they're the only ones who provide us like the non-watered down evidence that lets the public like you and me know some of these things are happening and they're being investigated, and those investigations cannot fully explain the phenomena that we have going on. But that is the story of the 1966 UFO chase that inspired the scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I'm upset.
Why?
Because I feel like it was listen, you did great. But it was so fun. Like, it was such a fun beginning. I'm like, this is great. Like, let's just chase this. Like we're playing a game. I love it. Like, this is fun. And then everyone's lives got ruined.
Yeah.
And then it's like, for what?
For what? A game of cat and mouse? Like that.
There are so many worse things that people do and did in the 60s that they should have been ridiculed for. Doing your job and following an object floating in the air, it's just not one of them.
No. It's an interesting story, though, I think. And it's
funny.
I
love it, but it's just like sad.
Why was so much of this happening like around? This is the same sort of flap area, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, where all this was all happening for so long. I need to know more because you and I'm not going to go into a long spiel on this, but you and I both agree that most times what we're seeing is UFO or UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, or probably not aliens from other planets. But what was going on at that time? I just I want to, if I could go back in time for real and be a time traveler,
what transpired
I'm going to the flaps.
In that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Although I would show up and they'd probably think I was part of it. So I don't know if that'd be the greatest thing.
I want to show you. I got new earrings. Did I show them to you when you were here? They're little aliens.
Oh, no. Let me see. Are you wearing them right now?
No, I should have. And I thought about it. Hold on. Okay. One's a little alien. And one's a little spaceship.
Oh, those are really cute.
Dude, you know where I found these?
Claire's?
Meijer.
I'm telling you, dude, Meijer stepped up their game on that shit, though. And their clothes and everything.
These are so cute. And they're on little chains. So adorbs. Okay, sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. I appreciate you leaving us with something light, but after your darkness last week, I planned a light thing. So do you want to hear a cute story about Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yeah.
Do you know who watches this on most of their anniversaries every year?
The parental units?
Oh, yeah.
Mark and Denise.
So when they first started dating, Mom calls my dad and says, hey.
Oh, God.
Will you go with me to a Halloween party? And he's like, yeah, sure. She goes, okay.
Are they actually official or they're still okay.
They're dating,
Okay.
It's fairly early on.
All right.
And Mom goes, okay, but you have to, ask your dad. My dad's like, why do I have to ask my parents? She goes, because we're going to Toronto. So Mom takes them to this apparently crazy Halloween party in Toronto. They have a great time. They get a hotel room.
I think your mom told me this.
In the hotel, yeah, they watched. It was one of their first real dates ever. They watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind together. So now they'll watch it when they want to have little sappy date nights and stuff. It's so cute.
So fucking
And I did ask for their permission to
share that.
Yes.
That is so cute.
That's what I've got for you, right? Okay.
Good job.
Emojis for this one: police car and flying saucer.
Duh.
It's an easy one for sure.
Wow.
And also, if you made it this far, to echo Kara from last week, we would absolutely love it if you would leave us a review or leave us your own story, call in, write in, whatever you want to do. And what else should they do so we can close the shop up?
No, just, if you're liking us and you think that somebody else would potentially like us, share. Please just share us with your friends and family, your weirdos. We're working hard and we want the more growth that we have from you guys, the more we can do for you guys. And we want to do for you guys, we want to do some cool things. And let's put our brains together and try to do a meetup. And so if you guys can think of cool things like that, message us, DM us, all those kind of things. And let's make some oddball moments, some oddball memories, if you will.
Perfect.
Okay, that's really all I have for you. Just be nice to everybody. I don't know. Don't call the police nice. If you see an alien. I don't call. I don't have time. And if somebody does fucking say that they saw a spaceship, don't be mean to them.
Absolutely not.
Who gives a shit?
Or we'll ridicule you.
Yeah, bitches. Yeah. All right, we gotta go. I'm fucking delusional. I love you guys. Zach loves you guys. Do all the things that we ask all the time. The most important thing you can do for us is to creep it real, yeah, balls.
Goodbye.
Bye.